West Valley shelter housing immigrant kids suddenly shuts down. It's the latest black mark on the troubled shelters, all run by the same company.
Team 12's Jessica DeNova has been looking into these issues. And Jessica, it looks like the feds decided children weren't safe at this particular facility.
That's correct. There are allegations of physical abuse at the Youngtown Southwest Key facility. Just this past summer, the Arizona Department of Health Services inspected all 13 Southwest Key shelters in the state. The only violation found at this location at the time, windows without curtains, but just a month later, a much greater one. Accusations of physical abuse. That's why the feds suspended operations at this Youngtown shelter used to house immigrant children detained at the border. This is one of 13 Southwest Key Programs locations in Arizona under contract with the government. In an email to 12 News from the Office of Refugee Resettlement, children are no longer placed here because of physical abuse allegations involving staff members and 3 children. But the details of that abuse still unknown.
Can you guys help us out? We just have a quick question.
Our crews found a lot of activity at the Youngtown shelter, but no one would talk and no word if the dozens coming in and out are employees. The nonprofit tells 12 News staff and children were relocated to other shelters in the Phoenix region, and it's working to thoroughly retrain its staff. HHS confirming the incidents were first reported in mid-September, and the staff members involved fired. Southwest Key says it has contracted an outside group to conduct an independent review of its shelters. Tomorrow afternoon, the state and Southwest Key are scheduled to meet. This comes after the ADHS director said she'll revoke licenses at the 13 Southwest Key shelters in Arizona unless the company can prove it is following the law. Back to you.